પહેલા અહીં કરતા હતા. હા જો પહેલા આપણે યુટ્યુબ કરીએ પછી OBS કરીએ. હવે આવ્યો.
should work
તો
both ways.
હા
હું પેલી રીતે કરું છું.
anyway, yeah, let's start. So this is a game between Carlsen and Palo Devor. Okay. So who are these players? Like Carlsen, as you might be knowing, is the current world champion of chess, and he is born in 1990. So when this game was played, it was in 2004. So he might be like 14 years when this game was played. Okay. Uh, so I keep on forgetting this player's name, Devor Palo. So he's a Danish chess grandmaster, and he attained the title of grandmaster at the in 2005. So just 1 year after this game, and when in 2004 he was 90 and 14, I think 19 years of age maybe. And
Mhm.
2004 minus 1985, yeah, 19 years of age. So both were very young at this time, and both were maybe targeting to become grandmaster at this stage. So the game started like the Palo Devor was white and Carlsen is black. So you want to like you will be guessing moves of Carlsen. So I would like that you play on the black side. Okay, so from
Yeah.
here, right? Yeah. So D4, Knight F6, C4, E6. So this is the classical Nimzo Indian what Devar Palo played. So if you play Knight C3 and Bishop B4, then this is the Nimzo Indian defense. Now here, if you play Knight F3 and right, so then you have to play B6 here, and this is the Queen's Indian defense. So these are all the defenses that one can encounter. Now here there is a also a variation where if you play D5, then you have the Queen's Gambit decline. Okay, but that didn't happen. Carlsen played Bishop B4, and Devar Palo. So I keep forgetting his name, Devar Palo. So Queen C2. He played Queen C2. Now the idea is that what Black is threatening is I will take this bishop, fine, and I will destroy your pawn structure. Like I will double this pawn. Okay, so this actually, so there is also one more line like this, E3, and so this is also the main line, and there is another line like Knight F3, maybe also another line. So all kind of lines are there. A3 is also one line. Yeah, so all kind of theories that if you Google Nimzo Indian, you will find those theories. But here we will discuss only Queen C2 because that
Hmm.
was played in the game. Now we Carlsen castled, and now he played A3, which I believe is a waste of time. He should have started his like he should not have worried about this bishop anymore. Like he couldn't have like maybe push his bishop out, or maybe played E3 and then go for knight E2. So he could have played like this. And so that if if black takes this, then there is another knight to go from knight E2 to C3. So those things he could have played. But Palo played, Devar Palo played E3 and Carlsen then took it. Okay, so here in Nimzo, we always give this bishop up. If you go this, then you have only wasted your time, and you have allowed white to develop all this. And you have just moved your bishop like so many times already. So it's best that you exchange it for something. So and as I told you that the sole purpose of the queen is like to preserve the pawn structure so that you don't have to take it with the double. So that's why they were called to take it with the queen.
Mhm.
B6 was played. No, so b6, so that I can put my bishop here maybe. Uh, yeah, and he played bishop g5, and Carlsen played bishop to b7, right? And now knight f3, he played never Palo. So there is some theory also involved here. Like in those days, the most prevalent theory was that people used to play e3, and then you played d6, knight e2. So there is one game that this author is showing, like queen c2, and then afterwards like h6, bishop h4, c5. So this is a variation, like, but that didn't happen. This is a variation. Rook d1,
Yeah.
queen c7, no? Knight c3, a6, queen d2, rook a d8, putting it on the same file as the queen. So f3, d5, cd5, ed5, bishop d3, developing the bishop, and rook f8, developing another rook, castle, queen c6, bishop c2. No. So there was some advantage for white in this variation. So this was a game between Drew and Korotiev. No, but Carlsen, as you know, he doesn't go exactly as per theory. Uh, but here the opponent, you know, plays knight f3, and Carlsen simply plays d6. He's trying to be safe, like not moving much. Now,
Hmm.
this opponent played knight d2. You know, so knight d2 means he's planning that I am going to place the e4 here. That is what he's planning, but not right now because, of course, the knight is also watching the square, the bishop is also watching the square, but he's preparing something. Also, he might prepare something like f3, and then he can do this. So let's wait, like see what the opponent is doing. Anyway, so Carlsen developed his another knight bd7, and yeah, he played f3. So he wants to play like this at c5, c5, and then e4. So finally, he achieves this e4 move, which he was set out to be. Carlsen develops his rook here on the open file as usual. Now, if you see, the king is like eyeing directly the king. So
Hmm.
rook a f e8, eyeing directly the king. But there is nothing right now which like signifies that I'm going to attack the king or something. He's just following general opening principles that I am just putting the rook here, eyeing this king. So if I find something, I will let you know. Something like that.
Hmm.
Fine. So he plays bishop d3, and now you know that he can move. So the queen will move like c d4, queen d4, and now he can play knight to c5. Threatening that I will take your this bishop, and I will take a bishop in place of a knight. And once the bishop is like exchanged, like I will have this. So I have taken the bishop in place of a knight. So as you know that I have already given my one bishop for his knight. So what I am doing is that if I take his bishop for knight, I am square one. I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so that's why he wants to preserve the bishop. White wants to preserve the bishop, and he plays bishop c2, and Carlsen plays e5 move. And yeah, there is a hole here. I accept that there is a hole. The d6 also becomes weak on this, but let's see what Carlsen plays here. So opponent plays queen to f2. Okay. Now this situation happens a lot many times that It's a bit of a passive position. So what you should do is like you should exchange the pieces so that you can come out of the passiveness. Okay, so Carlsen gets one tactical stroke. Okay, so he plays knight to g4. Okay, so the idea is that if pawn takes pawn, then I will take bishop take queen takes bishop. Okay, so that's why he plays this tactical stroke. Okay, and of course this bishop is losing. This is losing. So any other move also like it won't help. So yeah, so let's say queen takes this one, then I can take like this one. No? And he takes this, I can take this, and I got a good position now as black. So that's why. Uh, but what was wrong with this one, this move? Because it used to win a pawn as well. So what is wrong? Why is knight g4 an excellent move, and why is knight cut e4 is a question mark? Why? Can you tell me why this won't work? Same thing. Like I am also attacking the queen from here. Instead of here, I will attack it from here.
Mm,
Just some calculation.
uh,
Let me make it easy for you. Knight takes e4. Now,
yeah. Queen cannot take that bishop. That's why. If we go knight, knight takes knight, then he
no,
can
queen
take
takes
our
bishop
queen.
is not possible. Knight is
No,
protected.
I was saying, knight takes knight,
Knight takes knight. Okay.
then
Queen,
he,
bishop takes knight.
yep, and then he takes our queen.
But I can't take this bishop right now, and my this bishop is also in attack. So if I move my queen to safety, then black has won one piece. See, he has two bishops. I have only one. If I
Yep.
take this, then he will take this one, and he is still upper bishop. So as this bishop is undefended, this bishop is undefended. After this
Hmm.
knight exchanges, this becomes undefended. This one. That's the reason I can't play knight f takes e4 because in the end I am just losing the piece.
Oh,
Got this tactic? Very important tactic.
yeah.
Takes then there is a direct attack because this is undefended now, right? So there
Hmm.
is nothing that I can do. You know? So that's the reason. Uh, Here you see pieces are equal, right? So that's the reason knight fe cut e4 was a mistake, but knight g4 was good. There is no such thing. All right. So here he played bishop takes d8. Okay, so that was the move which Palo played. Bishop takes d8, and he played knight takes f2. Right. So bishop takes d8 is not that good a move. As per this author, so this author name is Andrew Mikhail Chizin. He has wrote a book on Carlsen, and as per him, this is not a good move. Instead, he recommends that white should have played queen to h4, you know, just protecting this bishop, nothing else. But Carlsen also has f6. Let's say now he plays f takes g5, okay, and queen g4. Okay, fine. Okay, just a second. F6. Okay, now he can play queen takes g4, then he can play f takes g5, and then he can castle. This would have been better for white. This game would
Hmm.
have been better for white. And black C pawn structure is also like gone shatters, But Mikhail Jasin, like sorry, Palo played like for the exchange of queens, and Carlsen also took the queen. They were played. this, and Carlsen played this rook d8, d8. Okay, now you can see that after some exchanges, you can see that there is a weak d6 pawn for Carlsen. This one,
Hmm. Hmm.
okay, and the d5 point, he cannot come to d5 because white has a good stronghold on d5, right? So d5 is also protected. But the d5 point does not play any great role in it. Like there is no piece occupying the d5 right now. So there is no nothing like that. That white will put any pressure on black's position. You know? At the same time, if you observe, this bishop is weak. This bishop is weak. White is weak because let's say white, this pawn, this pawn, this pawn, this pawn, this pawn, this pawn, all around white squares. Majority of the
Hmm.
pawns are on white squares, and so that means, and this bishop is a light square bishop, so that means the dark squares in the position, especially these squares, so these are all are weakened squares. If you take weakened in the sense that if I have only the kings left, I can make an inroad in your position, right? With this.
Right.
So, yeah, of course, this is there, but Carlsen has some plan to how to make this also on the same square like this. So I will let you know that. But this is the problem which white is having. His dark squares are weak right now. All right. So
Yes.
after this, he played b4, the opponent. All right. Now let's say so he will play knight e6, but let's say he played instead another move, let's say rook h d1, then also black should play knight e6, and the knight should have reached d4 square, so occupying this square because this is a dark square and there is not much control of the square. So that will also like be a good one, but that is what Carlsen also played in that game.
Hmm.
And b4 is like more active compared to rook hd1. At least b4 looks more active move, and it forces matters with that one. But problem with b4 is that c4 has become weakened. This is weak now.
Correct.
Okay, so just observing, plays a huge part. Okay, so knight e6. So he plays knight e6. So no, don't worry. Like this is now weakened. So we will take advantage of it later. No problem. So look at c1, and now almost all pieces are there except this rook. All pieces are developed. So Carlsen sees that the rook on this pawn on d6 may be a weakness, and this rook is protecting this weakness. Okay, so let me bring my king into the picture, like king f8. All right, and he also played knight b3. Now he brought the king to its right place, protecting the pawn.
Hmm.
Right now, Palo played bishop to d3, and Carlsen played bishop to c6. And now Palo played this move. Now, uh, as per the author, he should not have played a4. Instead, he should have played knight to d2. Okay, but he played this move, and this is also said to be a mistake. So,
Oh.
yeah. So the mistake is like he can play a5, in response to that. Let's say bishop takes a5. Now here Palo was thinking that if Carlsen plays this move, and then I will free up my position with c5. Okay,
Hmm.
and now the position has become equal, and this pawn is now free, and you can exchange of, let's say, exchange, and white has become very active, in this position. Like he's threatening this. Yeah, but Carlsen played this move, which is a good move. B takes a5. Carlsen didn't reply with b takes a5. Instead, he played knight to c5. So now this c5 break is not there. C5 won't be
Hmm.
possible. And he's attacking this knight, you know, and he's attacking this bishop as well. Let's say you take this, I will take your bishop and I will give a check. Right?
Hmm.
Okay. So I saw this that he's attacking my these two pieces, and if I exchange, then Carlsen will just play with the pawn, this pawn, or maybe this pawn, maybe, So yeah, he will play this pawn only, and he will get rid of his weaknesses. So I can't do an exchange also. Let me take this here, so that white doesn't get rid of his exchange, and I can also maintain that thing. All right, you got why this knight cut c5 is bad.
Yes.
Okay, so now Carlsen plays his move, bit takes a5. Now cb1, and as you know that there is only one open file here, this file. Okay, so whenever there is an
Hmm.
open file, try to keep your king near to that open file so that the rooks don't enter. Okay, Carlsen follows
In the
that
seventh
principle.
rank.
Yeah, king d7, so he immediately goes there near to the king, this three squares. He should
Hmm.
protect these three squares in his position. Okay, and the best way is to put your king on c7. Okay, so after king d7, black exchanges d takes c5, b takes c5. So now it's uh, as per the author, it is either a win for black or a draw for a black. Okay, it is important only for black to retain at least one pair of rooks. So now here, try to understand that black should uh, be cautious that his both pair of the rooks should not be. So how to play this ending? I'm telling you that. So
Hmm.
if you observe this, this is a blockade. Okay, this is a blockade. This is a blockade, and this is a blockade. My pawn cannot come. His pawn cannot come. Same here.
Hmm.
Correct. Also, my king can't go inside because of this blockade. Is there a way, like let's say I remove all pieces, is there a way for my king to go inside?
Hmm.
Nothing,
No.
right? So it's a kind
No.
of a fortress which white will develop if he's able to. So after d takes c5, yeah, so the stronger side here, Carlsen is the stronger side. So he should be always thinking that I will at least maintain one pair of rooks so that I can put my rook here and I can try to penetrate inside the position. Okay, if my rook is here, let's say my rook is here, then I will put my rook here, and at that opportune time, I can put my rook on the seventh rank as well. So that is the only way because my king right now can't go on this side, can't penetrate. So I have to wait. Understood?
Yes.
All right. So seeing this that they are on the same square, white immediately gave a check, and exchange one pair of the rooks.
Rooks.
So good defense. Why? He's like he wants to exchange the pair of the rooks. Now, if you see this another file is open, this one.
Hmm.
So now white has to take care. So he places his king to e3 and he takes care of this square. Because Carlsen was threatening to play rook to
D2.
d2 check. Okay, so immediately he put his king here. Also, he might be thinking like I will put my g3 and then I will put some breakthrough, but that is difficult to achieve. Uh, Black doesn't have to take this right away. So, if you see, first question now, where should so this is an open file. Which is the best place for the rook right now to put? Where you should put?
D4.
Yeah, the d4 is a very good square for the rook. There is no dark square bishop also, so d4 is the natural square. And so this is under attack, and so white played bishop to d3. Maybe he also wants that his king should come here, and try to help on the queen side. So he plays bishop to d3 and not to bishop to b3. So sorry. So bishop to d3 he played, and Carlsen played bishop to d7. Okay, so some moves which Carlsen will play, but it won't have any like thing. It might be like he's waiting for the opponent to make a mistake. You make a mistake first, then I will come. So here opponent does make a mistake. Now he plays rook to b1, and how is rook b1 a
How
mistake?
how many mistakes did White play?
No, no, he didn't. He all these are positional mistakes. So rook b1, okay, but he should have played rook to a2 instead. What is the difference? Tell me.
Bishop takes A4.
Bishop takes. Okay, rook b1, bishop takes a4. You can play bishop takes a4, but then I have this move. Okay, and now I have to move my bishop. Is there any way by which you can stop white?
No.
No, right? So then he will take care of this pawn. Right.
Hmm.
Now your the white's rook will become active if you take bishop takes a4. पॉन बॉन्ड नहीं मिलेगा ऊपर से उसका रुक एक्टिव हो जाएगा आपका भी पॉन जा रहा है so your pawn will also go you won't receive of any pawn so then there is one more reason why rook a2 was better and not rook b1 so I will tell you so if you see these two pawns okay
Hmm.
right now like white can put pressure from here rook d6 and then to rook b3 and rook a3 especially this here he can put the rook
Hmm.
here so this will mean that he will if the rook is here he can immediately play b3 here and even though my rook is here still it won't like he can just play g3 correct so
Correct.
that was the advantage of playing rook b2 here. Have you ever thought about that?
No.
So that's why he should have played rook a2. Okay. Now uh, now after playing rook a2, it didn't make any sense to make this maneuver because I know that my opponent will generally play g3 and he will defend everything. Okay.
Hmm.
So best move would have been in this certain scenario like play g6. Okay. And let's say now rook b2, then play f5. Okay. So that would have been a so Carlsen, as per Carlsen's own comment, he would have played this if White had played Rook A2, Rook A2, Rook B2 kind of maneuver, then he would have played G6 F5, as per Carlsen's own comment. Okay, so here the difference is only this much only. Like Rook B1 allows this maneuver. We will see how he allows this maneuver. So first of all, Carlsen plays F5. Okay, now here also strategy and tactics both go together hand in hand with each other. Okay, now tell me one thing. This pawn is gone if you take this pawn or not. Like it is protected by this rook bishop. Why to worry about it? But why e takes f5 is a mistake? Can you tell that?
Rook takes bishop, king takes rook, bishop cross f5.
Yeah, yeah.
b5.
So that would have been a disaster for white. So after rook b1, oh sorry, where are we? f5. So this is the main line f5, and this is an exclamation mark f5. So the idea is like Carlsen expected that his opponent is good enough to spot this, like he won't feel it a trap. You know?
Hmm.
Okay, so opponent didn't fail in the trap. So he just if you see here, there is a like how what you mentioned, like there is a battery here form, right? So let me remove my rook from here. Then I will take the f5 pawn. So his opponent just plays rook to c1. Alright,
Hmm.
that's the reason he played rook to c1. But here, as per the author of this book, he could have just played g3, no? And let's say Carlsen played g5, maintaining the status quo. Or if he plays rook d6, then bishop c2. Okay, just preserving this pawn, you know, not allowing him to take it. And now, as you can see, rook h1, no, it won't be of any use because this is already defended. Like he can play rook to a1 or h4. So this will have been interesting initiate, like interesting play will have come. So after g3, g5, rook to g1 was suggested. No, so this will have been a completely different game. So we won't go into that. But continuing with our game, f5, and after that opponent played rooks to c1. So this gave the Carlsen opportunity to further take his pawn there. So you see, my pawn was here, before some moves. My pawn was just here,
Hmm.
and due to this tactic of rook takes d3, I was able to play this here, f4 check. Correct? Because of the
Correct.
tactic, king e2. So he goes there, and now Carlsen plays rook to d6. Now, what is the thing? He plays rook to h3, h6 next move, but his opponent maybe was not aware about this plan or something, and he places the rook to b1, taking the open file. Now Carlsen plays the brilliant move rook to h6. Why is this a brilliant move? In order to provoke h3. He just says that you play h3. No, like now after playing h3, now if you see, I this opponent has a light square bishop and all the pawns are on the light square. See the
That's
symphony.
correct.
See, it's like a poetry. All are on light square now.
True.
Yeah. So this is what Carlsen plays like. So Carlsen further, he actually provoked White to play h3, and so this is now weak. Now if you see the dark squares, see this, all are weak, correct? All you need is a king inside, okay? But right now the king can't enter, king cannot enter inside. Right now he can't, but eventually he will. Anyway, Carlsen further provokes him, you know,
Hmm.
and now, if you see, these are the four central squares, and the king is near to the center.
Center
Okay,
square.
and he pushes the king outside. Like the king defends this, but at the same time, he goes away from the center by one move. Now, this one move will be very crucial. I will show you, like in some variations. This moving of the king away from center just by one move. All right. So back again. Carlsen comes back, and now he defends it. You know. And now Carlsen plays g5. All right. So he plays g5. Now white. So Carlsen is not in a hurry to take this pawn. Okay. He won't. Uh, this is very tempting. I know this is very tempting. This pawn is very tempting. But if you see now after playing h3, white cannot play g3 now. There's any kind of break here because h3 will fall. You see the advantage that he was made to play h3, because h3 will now become weak if g3 or anything is there. Even this also sorry. So even this also this will mean that this is weak now. There is nobody to take care of him.
True.
So g5. Now, if you see, there is a hook now. There is a point in which a clash can happen. It's a hook on
Hmm.
hooks. So G5 is the move, and Carlsen wants to exploit this hook by playing G5. Anyway, so white doesn't have much. He plays bishop C2, and now Carlsen wants to go further inside. He plays H5, exploiting this hook H5. Now next target is play G4. So he plays Rook D1. Now what will you play as white? As sorry, as black. Can you do an exchange? First of all, answer me that. Can you do an exchange and then go for the breakthrough?
Um, I don't think exchange would be a good idea right
Yeah.
now.
So what will happen is that if black exchanges, it will have been a disaster. All his hard work is wasted. Why? Because now if I do a breakthrough, white has h4, and there is nothing, no inlet for the king. The king can't come inside. From where it will come? Into white's position. There is no place from where I can go inside, and penetrate. And
Hmm.
white has successfully established a fortress.
True.
So that's why it will have been a disaster to play that. So instead of rook at d1, can you suggest a good move to Carlsen? Like Carlsen has come to your table and ask you, yeah, next time please give me the good move, in this game.
Imagine happening that in real life. To be honest, I would go for B4.
Yeah, d4,
Sorry, G4.
g4. Okay, no, the Carlsen played rook to g4. He doesn't want it to extend. Like if you play g4, same thing will happen. See,
Okay. White will go for an exchange then. Okay.
yeah, same thing will happen. So that's why rook d4 is the correct. Yeah. So Carlsen got the answer from you, and he will win the game now. Yeah. Also, this if you observe, uh, so now if white takes this, it will be a disaster because then I can play either with this pawn or better is like take it to the queen side pawn majority. Let's have a queen side pawn majority, and now my
Hmm.
king can come inside. I have got a way from which I can go inside, right?
True.
So rook d4, and after that it's not good for
White
this
to
to yeah, and yeah. So the author gives that this is also good. No, rook at d4, seek at d4, and now I can come inside by this one. You see, I can now come inside.
yes.
So this would have been a disaster for white if he had taken the rook. Rook at d4 would have been very bad for white. Anyway, so white maintains the status quo. He plays bishop to d3. He knows that he tempts Carlsen that if you take this, I will put a rook here. Okay, so Carlsen doesn't do much. He takes to rook d6. So Carlsen actually is not like a big boxer or something. but he will slowly and steadily accumulate the advantages, and then he will like win the game. Same move, bishop to c2, and now rook d4. So moves are repeated here. I know moves are repeated
Mhm.
here, but both players are reaching move number 40, which they have now moved. So I think they are now out of the time pressure now. So bishop d3, and now Carlsen played bishop to c6. Okay, so now with c6, he's actually opening a second front. Okay, so let's say if he had played g4 right away, g4 right away, then h takes g, h takes g, and then this rook would have been active. Okay, right. Or now if bishop takes e4, then this pawn will have been fall, and again the rook will have been active. This is a sign of a weak player that he allows his opponent any counter chances. G4 a weak player would have played, and his
Mm.
opponent rook would have become active. You know,
Active.
and suddenly opponent will be active. Like so far he was just tied up. So Carlsen just maintains the status quo with bishop c6, and he also is eyeing this and this from here. Let's say right now this is well defended, but let's say after some exchanges, this also will be a problem because only this bishop is defending the e4. All right, and my rook and bishop both are on this eyeing this e4 pawn. Correct.
Correct.
That's why. That's why this is a good move. Now rook g1. So now the opponent plays rook g1 maybe to free up his position with g3. He wants to come out, but Carlsen is not allowing him to come out. Rook d8. Okay, and now he plays g3.
Mm.
So here g3 is an interesting move. It is saying that it is an interesting move. You can say it's an interesting move. We will get to g3 later, but let's say there is one long variation given. So let's say he plays rook b1 instead. He is also maintaining the status quo. Then what happens? Now if you observe, the rook is here. No? So then what happens? Then Carlsen gives the variation, the author gives the variation. Bishop takes a4. Okay, and now let's say
Why
rook
now the?
rook a1. Now bishop c6. Yeah, so that is what. No, so that now that one more thing I told you, that comes into picture now. I will tell you. Rook at a5, king b6. Okay,
Mm.
king b6. Now here there is one more variation. This is like full of variations. Here also
True.
there is one more variation. Rook b1, and then if the opponent had, if Carlsen had played bishop h8, okay, so that is not that good. You can say okayish move. Rook h8 is less good move, because bishop c2 again protecting this, and now if g4, then white can simply play h4. Now, and white has excellent chances of setting up a fortress once more. But let's say this is the main move. Bishop takes a4. Okay, bishop takes a4. Rook a1. Bishop c6. Now this is all calculation. No, like this is all calculation. Bishop c6. After bishop c6, rook takes a5, king b6. Okay, but here there is one more kind of. Let's say he just offers to exchange the rook. Okay, but that is good enough only for a draw. Like how? Like Bishop takes 8. Bishop takes 8. And now what is my plan? I should be willing to come inside. One, two, three. Okay, that should be my plan.
Hmm.
But let's see what happens here in this variation. Rook 8, Bishop 8. Now white will move first. King d2, King b6, King c3, King a5, and King b3. White doesn't allow black to come inside. This is a fortress. Alright, there is one more variation here. Let's say instead of taking rook takes rook, white plays bishop takes c5. Then what will you play? This is a mistake, big blunder.
Rook to a7.
No,
King to b2. B6.
king d6. This is trap. No, if you king b6, then this pawn falls, na?
Okay.
Pawn falls, na?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
King to d6, and the rook is trapped. You can't go anywhere. You have to give up the rook for this bishop. You So this would have been a blunder. But let's say he takes the pawn, and then this variation comes where white makes the first move. See, and now after when white is on king d2, now my king is on b6. No? Okay, so this would have been a draw.
Hmm.
All right,
Okay.
but after rook, so yeah, why to play rook at 8 when king b6 is the better move? Now my king is on b6. If you see, now my king is on b6 and his king is where on e2.
Hmm.
See the small difference? Did you saw that the
Yes.
difference? When my in the next last variation, when my king was on here, king was on the white made the first move, king d2, and now my king was on b6. Okay, here I am
Yep.
one move ahead. I am putting bishop takes a4, here, here, and now my king is on b6 when white's king is still on e2. Okay, now can I penetrate inside? Let us see. Rook a1. Oh, sorry. Oh, it doesn't matter wherever the rook goes. I will play rook to 8. Okay, so plan is that white wants to break through with the king on the queen side. Fine. Now this
Hmm.
king wants to come here very quickly, and put pressure on c4. Okay, we will see how. So here two variations are given: rook b1, then king c7. And here it is written that white is still lost here. But we won't be going into that variation much because nothing has been explained other than this. But the main variation, like what if he takes, and now he puts. So now see, he's one move behind. Now he comes to king d2 when my king is already on b6.
Okay.
All right,
Nice.
small things. You remember
Small
that
thing. Yeah.
small move, rook g6 and king had to come here. No? You remember something now?
Yep. I guess. I guess.
Now,
Yeah.
now it will be in picture. This one move. So see now, king d2. Now he will come king a5, king c3, and now he can enter on king a4. Before that, he couldn't enter, na, because that king is
Couldn't enter.
weakened.
Yeah.
All right. Now king a4.
Yep.
Let's say he gives a check. He further enters in here. Let's say he stops the king from coming. I will just do a time pass move. Yeah, just through some time pass. He will have to go move it because he can't move any of his pawns right now, right?
True.
And so he gives a time pass, and I can move bishop to a4. Let's say he doesn't want to take. Of course, if I would he take, then king a2, and he wins. Now he doesn't have this move also. See,
True.
now he doesn't have this move also. These are red. He can't put it here. Otherwise, this will be like that. So yeah, what happens if I put it here? Then let us check the computer. If I put it here, then of course bishop c2, king c2, king a3, king c3. Then I can. Oh, I will like put him in zoom zone. No, now he has to move. Where he will move?
Yep.
Now he will be in trouble. All right. This variation I didn't saw. Anyway, so he will be in trouble then. Anyway, so this is the reason where Carlsen meticulously planned that the king is one step behind. When he play already like did that calculation that he will hit the king b6 and that thing. All right. So the opponent didn't went for rook b1, but he played g3. You know, he wants to give a breakthrough. Now, in order to prevent g takes f4, now he plays rook to g8. Okay,
Hmm.
so g takes f4, e takes f4. Right, and now this pawn is protected. Fine. So even though e takes c4, f4, you saw what was the threat. What your opponent like he wanted to break free. So this would have been mean that the whole file would have been his. That was his plan. So by
Yeah.
putting my rook here, I'm not allowing the opponent to take this. I am taking it from this one. So g takes f4 is not a that good a move like from white side. G takes f4 this one. Why? Because when Carlsen played e takes f4, now he has the this one. See now,
Yes.
uh, now he can enter inside. All right.
Hmm.
So finally, seeing that White has to do something, otherwise he will be like all smothered. ભૂંગળીને મરી જશે એવું કેમ ને એવું છે. So White tries to break free, from this. He thinks about a plan. Like, let me put e5 here. No, let me give a pawn sacrifice. I don't
Hmm.
care. Like, let me give a pawn sacrifice. I want to break free. Okay. And this was a good plan because later on, if he had played, like, if he had followed up with bishop e4, like, there would have been interesting possibilities arising out of it. But unfortunately, he didn't follow it up with a good plan. Like when Carlsen played bishop d7, so if you see here, Carlsen still is not taking this pawn. Okay, he doesn't want the white rook to get free. Okay, but Carlsen with bishop d7 is actually now threatening this weak pawn h3. So now you see both the
Hmm.
pawns are in danger. Fine.
True.
Yeah. But here, as per the author, White should have tried after like bishop d7. Okay, so I will tell you what he move he played. He played bishop to h7. No, so that was the point of why he played e5 because he wanted to activate his bishop as well as he wanted to stop this king from coming here. No, so that's why he played it like this. And Carlsen played rook to g7. But yeah, there is one more variation. Like this is a dubious move, rook to h7. So if you see, this is the symbol of dubious move. Interesting move and dubious move. What is the difference?
DVS is like you are uh, like Shaitani plant types. I don't know
Uh,
English of Shaitani
Interesting.
types.
Okay. No, no. Dubious
Yeah.
means it's not exactly a mistake, but it's like a near to a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was that. Anyway, so the author gives here that if white had played bishop to e4, it would have been better, although this pawn would have gone, you know, but he could have played bishop to d5, you know, and then if Carlsen had played rook g7, now play rook to b1, and threatening rook b7 check and X-ray on this rook. Okay,
Hmm.
but rook e7 would have been better, like now threatening to take the pawn. Like there is rook e7. So here rook b7 check is given and king d8, rook b8 check. Keep on repeating the checks. Bishop c8 is the best move. Now if rook a8, now attacking this pawn, then rook takes a5 check and king f2, trying to be near to this three pawns versus one pawn, very bad situation. But in spite, like black has two extra pawns in this variation, but still it would have been much better variation compared to the game, where much less resilience was seen. So yeah, Carlsen played rook to g7 here, and now Palo played bishop to e4. Okay, so now Carlsen has a choice like you take this or you take this. Which one will you take next time? Uh,
I will take that H3 one.
H3 one, right? So bishop takes H3 it took. Okay, Carlsen heard you and you take on bishop takes H3. So now the critical moment had come. Happens so it usually happens in the play when converting an advantage at the critical moment. One has to switch from the systematic strengthening of the position to the calculation of specific variations. There will always be that time when systematic strengthening was a different era of the game where in this kind of situation he was systematically doing all this, and now we have reached to a position where I'm taking this bishop takes h3 but with some calculations involved, so that's the reason a player should be good in calculation as well as systematic thinking both. Otherwise, how will he convert it is advantage? Once you reach a certain point, you will have to calculate that to get some specific advantage out of this. Or in only an open file or an advanced keying, this alone cannot help you. You also need to calculate well, and that will help you. Anyway, so he played rook to h1, and now I can play g4. Correct? I can just
Hmm.
protect this. And now I got a passer as well. After this move, this is a passer. Right? So black, white goes here. Reason being, he wanted to come here and he wanted to X-ray this rook here. Fine. Got the threat. Why black
Hmm.
white comes here? So
Yes.
Carlsen prevents this, and he also keeps an eye on g4 with the move rook g5. Also, he attacks this pawn on e5. So now white goes ahead. Like his rook is getting active finally, so he goes ahead and Carlsen plays king to d8. So as you can see, there was nowhere to go up, so he has to go down. Right? And when you go down, always think that this is a light square and this is a dark square. Choose a dark square because your opponent has a light square, right?
Hmm.
So these are the small things. Right now there is nothing, but your opponent may think of something. So now e6, and now rook e5, attacking this one,
Fine.
right? So he also attacks this pawn. But here, black says, okay, uh, I have a way to defend, attack this as well as I am like going to make this a pass up. So he plays g3. He attacks this one more time and plays this. So there will be a passer now. Now there is nobody to stop this guy.
True.
So g3 he
Well,
plays. Rook takes f4. He gives up a pawn for a passer. So rook takes f4. And now Carlsen doesn't take this pawn, but he instead solidifies the passer. Rook g5. So white solidifies his passer with bishop d5. So that doesn't take. But now Carlsen plays bishop to e6. He still takes. Okay.
still takes.
He still takes. Why? Why still takes?
Pass.
There is a passer.
Pass. Yep.
There is nobody to stop that passer.
Stop.
All right.
White
So
is not resigning it even at this point.
yeah. So yeah, he has this na king f1. So he picks this. That okay, I will take yours. If you take g2, then I will put my king in there. Now you
Hmm.
can't do anything because
True.
this pawn cannot move ahead because my rook is also protecting this. This is the plan of white. So Carlsen first exchanges the bishop. Bishop takes d5, c takes d5, and then he goes here. Rook takes d5.
Another passer.
Yeah, another person. Okay, king g2, and now he forces that I will take this pawn as well. You know, see now if you
Yep.
don't kept like if you go somewhere else, I will take this pass.
This pawn only. Yep.
Yeah. Also, if you go somewhere else, I might as well like move it here. No, no, better like I will just wait. You know, what to do here? Like, let me check on this computer. So it gives h4. It doesn't take. No, let's say it gives a check. Then we have king e7, rook g8, c4. So yeah, this can also run now. You give a check, king f6. You give now this can also run c2. So I have to come back. Now d2, king h3, rook h2, g4, and now another passer g2. See that?
Yes.
So now two passes. How will you prevent the second one? There is no way. Best like he can give some checks. That's it. Otherwise he can't do anything. Anyway, uh, let us further see. Hey, what if I just give some checks? Yeah, check, check. Now I can just I have to block these three squares. C8. Okay, he gives a
You
check.
can go queen. Yeah.
Now nothing can happen. Okay, so yeah, that is a good addition. But let's say he takes where it is. Oh, this main line was this one. So rook f1. Uh, so he takes bishop takes e6, bishop d5. Yeah. So he takes bishop takes d5 on move 56. Yeah. C takes d5. Rook takes d5. King g2, and he plays rook d4. So and let's say rook f5. So this is what was played in the game. H4. Yeah, and king h3. So yeah, so here the computer suggests rook f8 and all these things, but that is also losing. But opponent played rook king to h3, and now c4. You know? So
Hmm.
one more passer. You know? So looking that you can't prevent this passer and this passer, the opponent resign.
Resigns.
Yeah. So white resigned here, and you have a result of 0, 1. Fine.
Interesting game.
Yeah. So this is how like Carlsen systematically strangulated his opponent. Now, okay, I say this one move 52. What is written here? Yeah, the E pawn has been stopped, and White is unable to cope with the connected pass pawns. Very true. Like after that, there is no hope. This was the main line. C4. Right. So this is how the game went. Like quick recap. Nimzo Indian defense. Right? He played A3, which is of maybe he tried to improvise the opening. Then C5 and all this was done. So so many of the things that you do may not come into the picture. Like if you remember, Rook E8 was there, but that never came into the picture. That thing. But you leave that those options open. Like if your opponent makes a mistake, you are there to take advantage of it. Right. So knight G4 was a move by which Carlsen freed his position, like with some exchanges. Right. B4, then this. Now coming to the D6 square, just waiting. Now this was the move. No, this was very good move. Knight C5. So it attacked many places. So bishop C2. Now he places this. Again going there. No. Now he tries to exchange one rook. Again here. Yeah, three times rook D2. So opponent plays this move. Rook D4. See now black is winning. Like he's got a, not winning, but he's got a winning position. So he has to
True.
come back. Fine. Now this was the tactic which actually made place more pressure on white, you know, with this f5 tactic, and then this one, you know, rook d f5 and he takes f5, rook d3, and this one. So this was the reason by which white was then white had to again move his rook to a different square, rook c1, and it also protected his pawn. So cf4. So now king is pawn. So now this is the maneuver I like very much of Carlsen. Now he places a rook on d6. He forces white to play h3. After that, this all these weaknesses start coming. This was
Correct.
a positional genius, you can say. Rook g6. Now another positional genius. He makes the king come here. Again, makes the king come here. g5, bishop c2. If this wouldn't have happened, all these things, then his king probably would have come here by now. You know, if these things
Hmm.
would have happened, like he had to come back here. You know, he has to waste a move also. So g5, bishop c2, and now, yeah, why should we exchange? If you exchange, then it's a mistake. There will be any breakthrough. So he plays rook d4. Now black cannot exchange. No, white cannot exchange. Otherwise, all sorts of in incoming will come. No? The king will come inside, right? So you just maintain the position. Okay. Here also see he is not threatening right now, but maybe on the later stage. So he just
Hmm.
places the bishop at the right place. That's the important thing. He doesn't go with this move because this will activate the white rook. So he just maintains the hold on position. Rook d8. So now here he played g3, but if he had played rook b1, lots of interesting continuation would have come here with all this one move business now coming into picture. Yeah. So he played g3. So those things didn't came into picture right away. So he plays Rook G8, G takes F4, G takes F4. So he tries to break free, but then well, so he just stops. Like black was always waiting to come to D4 via this route. So he just stops. Bishop D7. Okay. So Carlsen doesn't want to take this. So if you see the end of the game, this pawn is still standing here. He didn't take it. Carlsen
True.
didn't take it. This pawn. He's just standing here. Yeah. So yeah, E5, Bishop D7. He was more interested on the like going for the king side pawns. See, now going for the passer, taking this. All right, I will put the same line. Okay, so yeah, white says if you take my pawn, I will take your pawn. Kind of scenario. Let's say white, if had moved this here, what would have been happened? Still, if we could have taken this, right? This would have also won.
Hmm.
Uh, this was enough for a win. Two pawns, and let him take this pawn. I will take my this king here. I will put my king here. Put here king here. Both pawns he cannot defend with a bishop because my bishop is also there. Anyway,
Hmm.
so he plays it here. So see, Carlsen is now giving up for a passer. He's giving up. Now he takes the pawn. Uh, King F1. Now he gives the exchange and then he takes F4. King F3 and D4. Done. So just at the age of 14, Carlsen was playing like this.
Amazing, isn't it?
Amazing. Don't see many kids playing so maturely in their games like this.
True.
All right, so that was a quick recap, and this is the whole game of Palo Devor versus Carlsen
Carlsen.
in Gausdal tournament in 2004. Yeah, let me save this and stop the OBS.
Yeah.
So I will have to stop the OBS first, right?